Hello, everyone, and we're here together again, and I'm very, very happy and joyful because it's June and I've got the opportunity to talk to Alasdair Hoswell. And if you've been following us, you will have seen that Alasdair had written some lovely children's books, and I interviewed him a while back about his book of numbers and numeracy for youngsters based on areas in Cornwall, which is my home country. So I'm just very happy with that. So let's find out more. I mean, Alasdair, it was a lovely interview and you're very clever and very talented. So I want to pick up and find out what's been happening because I think you've been very busy. How's it been going for you?
Thank you. Well, first of all, that's so very kind. Thank you. That's a really lovely thing to say. And yeah, it's been going really well. I feel very blessed, really, with the opportunities that my latest book has brought me. It just seems to have opened so many wonderful doors within the world of storytelling and being an author, and lots of the workshops and the school visits. And it's just been, yeah, it's been really quite like a pinch me moment, really. Actually, yeah, I'm very, very excited about it all, and yeah, very proud.
Yes. So I'm pleased to know you, but it's also been an inspiration. Just to recap with everybody, you've written a couple of books for children and you were in education. So maybe you'd like to tell us how you came about writing books in the first place, very briefly.
Yeah, so basically, my first book I wrote in 2016, and that was called I Brush My Teeth with Hair Gel. And that kind of came really from being inspired from the children I was working with and teaching. And like they would come up with like little funny ideas and little stories, and I'd think, hang on a minute, I can use that. I can do something with that. And I've always loved writing anyway. As a child, I used to always write and make little notes and little stories and things all the time. So it's always been with me, really. But I think as an adult, I started to pursue it a lot more. I never thought I would make books. I never thought I'd be able to. I actually didn't actually find writing that easy at school. So it was quite a like sort of deep end, really, to think, right, can I do this? And
Yeah.
so I thought, yes, I can. I'm going to go for this. And but yeah,
Mm.
so very much the children I worked with for that first book,
Mm.
definitely.
Yeah. And what was the second book? The other one?
So the second book is first book is I Brush My Teeth with Hair Gel, and then the second book is There's Something Nasty in My Pasty, which is the
Nasty.
same character. Yeah, the
Yeah.
same. Those two kind of go together. And
Yeah.
that was 2018. I made that book,
And I
and
think the thing with that title tells you straight away there's a Cornish element to this.
definitely. Definitely, that one's very Cornish, very funny. He makes like pasties. Some of the pasties are really disgusting. Some are delicious. Some have jelly babies in. It's just fun, and so that kind of came off the back of the other book, really. So that
Mm.
there was a couple books with the Cornish character.
Mm.
But yeah, it's been good fun. I've enjoyed
Yeah.
those books.
But I think what's coming across with those books is they're more like about the world and self-care and understanding the world as it is. But this third book was slightly different. Well, magnificently different. So I think there's a reason why it's kicked off because you've had those two books behind you. And I would urge any writers out there, just get a couple of books behind you and your confidence builds. So tell us about this book then.
Yeah, definitely. I would agree with that. Definitely. I think it did give
Mm,
me that confidence to go a different direction with the third book because I'd already done the other two. And so, yeah, I definitely agree with that. Yeah, the third book is very different because it's a counting book. It has lots of Cornish culture in, Cornish language as well. So it's the first book I've created that actually is a dual language book. So that
mm,
was really exciting to sort of dip into the Cornish language and the history and the heritage. And being a Cornish man myself, it felt just an honor to do that. And I feel like just to bring that together has been lovely. So that's been a really exciting time. But yeah, that book features different sort of paintings as well, because the other books I did using like a digital type art with colors, with Photoshop and Illustrator, those kind of things. Whereas they were still hand drawn, but I did all the colors digitally. Whereas this new book, everything is hand drawn, everything's hand painted, everything's done with acrylics. I just went down a completely different road with it, and
mm.
I love using acrylic paints. So I think I'll always do that now. But the other book suited that style, whereas this one suited those kind of colours and vibrancy.
Yeah, you are an illustrator by previous profession, aren't you? But you've got this Cornish language element, and I think that appeals to a lot of non-Cornish people.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I think that is one of the different angles for this book because it has the Cornish language. I think that has been a really unique selling point for it as well, that people have thought, oh, that's different. There's not a lot of books out there like that. So yeah, that was definitely a like an opportunity there to think that's what people would like to know more about the Cornish history of our language. But yeah, that came about basically because when I was teaching, I would always teach the children in my class some Cornish words and a little bit of Cornish, you know, within our learning. And I would always teach them the Cornish numbers. And I had nothing to sort of go to. There was no kind of something age appropriate for like 4-year-olds, which was very visual, and they need visual as well as the numeral number and to put them together. So I kind of thought, hang on a minute, there's a gap here, that there's nothing out there. There's no children's book for that. There's nothing about counting in Cornish. And I thought, nobody's done that. So there was a huge gap, and I thought, I am going to do that. I'm going to make that, and that's what I've done. And it kind of, again, inspired by working with the children in my class, really. I guess they are always somewhere back there as an inspiration for what I do. And so, yeah, that was definitely a different book, but I'm so pleased with how that one's come out. It's just, it's been brilliant.
Yeah, I think there is a gap in the market, a very obvious one, because as a tourist, when I've taken family and friends to Cornwall, there's very little on the language aspect, and it tends to be more adult-led rather than child-led. And I think the combination of the heritage pictures, the beautiful paint, the artworks, believe me, everybody, if you go and look at these books, the artwork is absolutely gorgeous, very inviting to children. But you've also taken it a stage further, and this is where I'd like to help other writers, because I know a lot of writers watch these videos that I do, these interviews. It's one thing writing a children's story, but what you've also done is you've incorporated some of the educational aspects because of your educational background, which gives it a lot of credibility. It's very tourist orientated as well. It's very appealing to tourists. So the tourist board must love you. I can see this blowing up much bigger. But the other aspect is that when it comes to marketing a book, I think you were just about to launch this book when we had our interview. And I was intrigued to see how you were going to promote it, market it, especially as you're Cornish based. And it's quite it's quite a triangle down there, isn't it? You can get across very quick, and I've been absolutely astounded to see you popping up all over Cornwall in one day.
I know. I get about.
Yeah. So tell me how definitely. That developed then. How did it start from taking your book? I remember when you got your first shop to take your book. How did that expand? How did that grow? Because it's fascinating.
Oh,
so quick.
It was amazing. So first of all, I felt like obviously very so happy and so honored to have any shop want to take my work and my books. Honestly, like, thank you. That means the world. And so basically, I think a lot of it helps with social media. So if you start posting on social media what I'm doing, what the book's about, getting people interested, social media has been a real massive help, I think, for me personally with marketing, because I've been able to, people have shared that, people then know people, they know people that work in various shops or whatever, that helps as well. I've gone around to these places with my book and been very personal and just said, look, I'm an author, my name is Alasdair, this is my book, take a look, keep it for a week or so, see what you think, is this something you would like in your shop? I always tell them my journey, like who I am, how I made the book, and I like to give them quite a bit of personal who I am, and obviously being local and everything, most of the time, pretty much all the time, people want to support you because you've made a book about Cornwall in Cornwall. So there are a lot of people out there that love that and welcome that, which is great. And yeah, so it's been a really brilliant journey, actually, all the marketing side of it, and that's been new for me. I never really knew how I was going to do that, so I launched the book first. So I launched it. I tried to make it I made it a party, basically. I made a big party to launch the book because I thought, well, this is a celebration. And then suddenly it started to get interest from things like Rodders. So they gave me some cream for the event, so my guests could have cream for their cream tea. So thank you, Rodders. And I also had pasties donated from a lovely, delicious pasty company, which was the Cornish Oven. So that was amazing. So it's like, I'm just blessed. People have been so kind and supportive, definitely.
Mm, mm. And the other aspect that I think is possibly a little bit easier for you than other writers is because you've worked with children and you've in every class is a workshop, you've been able to transfer aspects of the book and formulate different workshops so that you can meet and work with the children, their parents and the teachers in different scenarios all the way through, haven't you? Tell us a little
Yeah,
bit about that, because you've been to some interesting places and done some
yeah.
fascinating, lovely work.
It's been amazing. It's been so exciting. So yeah, absolutely. The teaching background has absolutely helped me. I don't think I could have done some of the workshops in the same way without my teaching experience for sure. So I feel I'm so happy that that teaching qualification has almost evolved into something new
Mm,
because obviously, as you know, I left teaching full time to do this. So it's lovely to still have those skills and everything I worked hard for is still there. So that's good. But oh, the places I've been to are amazing. So I've been to various libraries around Cornwall, which are always incredibly inviting environments. Camborne Library, beautiful library, Redruth Library, absolutely stunning. And they just welcome families and children, and their reading areas are so inviting and full of beautiful books, and it's just lovely, a wonderful space. The libraries are such a wonderful, wonderful space
mm,
here. We're so lucky to have them. So I've done some workshops with them, and Giver Tin Mine, which is an
yeah,
incredible, wonderful place. I've done some workshops with them as well, and the workshops basically involve using the Cornish language. I read the book, I sing songs, I we play games with it. It's like bringing the book to life in a really immersive way. And Cres and Kerno as well. I just did an event with them with the book, but also from the book, I've kind of taken things from it now. So I did like a giants and legends theme, which is kind of like inspired from the book. So there's things I'm taking from the book and evolving into new workshops as well, which is really exciting. So
yeah.
it isn't just like the same one all the time. I can make things new. But yeah, it's been. I'm very grateful for those opportunities. Definitely.
I can see a couple of things there. One is that your educational background does give you credibility, but these are things that can be learned, and some people are natural. So, for any writers listening in now, watching, have a think and watch what other people do. If you're shy about putting your books forward, um, one of the some of the writers up here, I've invited them to. I've connected them with nurseries so they can go in and read their books, and the parents coming in, they have coffee morning. And a lot of nurseries are going down that line now where they're trying to get the parents more inclusive in their nurseries. So there's that aspect as well. But the other thing is that you're becoming a bit of an attraction yourself because you're putting yourself in attractions,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
Eva Mine and things like that. And
yeah.
the other thing is that with the workshops, I think you are building, so you can repeat, can't you? You can rinse and repeat. You can go back to one school or one library, and when you're theming it, you can just keep building on that and be seasonal as well.
That's right. Yeah, definitely. And yeah, it feels like that at the moment because like my brand, if you like, I've made it like a cartoon me. So it's kind of like I try to make I think it's very visual, and then people are starting to get to know who I am as a storyteller as well. And what has really been lovely is that lots of these events now, I'm meeting a lot of the same children and a lot of the same families. They keep coming back, which means the world. And
Mm.
that means the absolute world to me. And also the other workshops I'm doing as well is every Tuesday I do a play group. So I do play stories, which is like a branch from my author world as well, where I actually take other well-known stories and other themes and then create an early years environment for babies, toddlers, and we do songs and play and
Wow.
activities and that's my early years background. So
Yeah.
that's been wonderful as well.
So you're being fulfilled. You're fulfilling yourself because you obviously had a passion to go into working with children. And the other exciting thing that I just love, I get a little bit gagged like this. It's
Ah,
just sort of, the other exciting thing I love is that you're leaving a legacy. Now, I'm a grandmother, and there are certain books that I read, that my children have read, and my grandchildren have read. In another 10, 15 years' time, I'm hoping my great grandchildren will read
yeah,
them. So when I think a lot of writers underestimate the value of what they do, and I think I can see this with you as well. That because you're building around your book, it's not just a book on a shelf; it's a whole kind of lifestyle awareness, very full experience, like you said, immersive experience that you can provide. But you've got that legacy, and it's historical, it's contextual, it's cultural, and you're building communities. And I really am fascinated. I really don't think sometimes that somebody like yourself kind of see yourself because you're in the middle of it. But as somebody looking outside, I think, you know, you definitely have so much more to give, and probably more books. Yes,
Oh, that'd be lovely.
please say
Oh,
yes.
yeah, that means the world. Thank you for saying that. That's so kind. And oh, absolutely. I've got all these ideas buzzing around my head for books, and it's just
Yeah.
focusing them now and thinking, right, what's next? But I know I am going to do a story next. So I know I've just done the language and the numbers, but the next one I want to do is an adventure book. So magic. I want magic in there. Cornish legends. It's going to be Cornish again, and it will feature Cornish
I
language.
think it should stay that way. I think
Yeah,
you, and I mean, by all means, diversify. Lots of authors have used other pen names and diversified, and you could write a thriller or a crime novel. Who knows what you're capable of? But I think
yeah,
for this, the other aspect is that the children will grow with you. So you
yes.
come in running in 2024, that age group will follow you.
Mm.
So, you know, it's
Yeah, true. Yeah.
yeah, you have the skills and the ability, the imagination to create that world with them as they grow up. And I think that's tremendous. That's really unusual. But again, I know there are so many writers interested in what you're doing, that they'll to make it your own, isn't it? You're using your personal skills, and I would urge any other writers out there to think about what your skills are and what your passions are, and follow those. Amazing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I'm thinking merchandise, TV,
Ah, that would be
comics.
amazing. Like a dream would be to have, like, especially the latest book, the Cornwall Land You Can Count On, to have it as like some kind of beautiful, like animation, teaching children how to count, going through Cornwall,
Yeah,
music, sounds, all my paintings come to life. That would
yeah,
just be incredibly beautiful. My goodness, I would love that. But who knows
yeah.
what the future holds, you know?
Well, it's time, isn't it? It's time and effort. I mean, I always say one step at a time, but
Mm,
don't miss an opportunity because I'm a big dreamer. I see big visions, but you have to build the bricks and have to build on what you're doing and secure that reputation and following, etc. As you know, and
definitely.
it's too easy to jump ahead. But you know, I can see if you're still passionate like this with your next book, you know, I can see really good things.
Ah.
Exciting, yeah. So, what's been the response of your family and friends then? What do people think of you now? I'm not saying that they didn't think of you before, but
Ah.
I'm sure you've inspired other people.
I hope so. Yeah, I hope I've inspired others. I've with friends and family, I've had such lovely comments from everybody, and I hope they're proud. They say they
Oh,
are, so that's lovely. But yeah, they've been really amazing and supportive as well. Really, my family and my friends, and with other people, I've had quite a lot of people get in touch and say, "Oh, you know, I'm thinking of writing. I'm thinking of doing, you know, this, or I'm thinking of making a book, or yeah." And I've given them advice and support, and I always feel really helpful doing that because I
mm,
remember I was seeking that advice myself years ago. I was exploring, you know, how do I do this? So to be able to feel like the person now that can actually give some constructive advice and say, you know, go down this road or go down this road, that's been great. I really hope I've helped people, and
mm,
it's just exciting. And I love the thought of other people, you know, making their creations. And if I'm inspiring them, same with the children I go into with the schools, if I can inspire them in any way,
yeah.
just to even believe in themselves to do something, that's then I feel I've achieved something that day.
Yeah, well, I think one of the problems with creative people is they never think they're going to be as great as the people that have inspired them. You know, a
Mm,
guitar player starting out, maybe 2, 3 years down the line, might be a very competent guitarist, but because he can never be as great as his hero or her hero, um, they sort of like put a stop on themselves and think, well, I'm not going to be that great, so I'll just stay where I am, or perhaps I won't bother. And a lot of people shelve their creativity. So, you know, it's a wonderful example of making the most of that. And quite a brave step to give up your teaching career to go full hog into this. You know, it's amazing.
Yes.
So the other question I just want to finish with really is, when it comes to doing something like this, you're a one-man band on the surface, but I'm sure there are teams of support, and you've encouraged others to help you, and perhaps you've needed other people's skills. So maybe you can tell us how that goes, because I know a lot of people are very timid about sharing their creative products, resources with externals who may be able to push their marketing along a bit more, or push their products along a bit more. What's your experience?
Yeah, no, that's really good. That makes sense. So for me, for this previous book, I worked with Dr. Loveday Jenkins for the Cornish language, and I know Dr. Loveday personally, and I know how incredibly talented she is with the Cornish language and her passions and all of those things. So I knew 100% I could trust her with my ideas, with my book. I gave her she knew what the illustrations were before anybody else. All those kind of things. So I think building a trusting relationship with people is key. So we got on brilliantly. We were able to communicate via email and everything, and catch up with each other about. And she was just so incredibly amazing to help support the language side of things, because I'm not an expert on the Cornish language. It's something I want to learn more myself as well. So that was great. So a massive thank you again to Dr. Loveday Jenkins, and also my partner is fantastic at editing. So he's my proofreader basically. So he goes through everything to make sure things are spelt correctly, make sure there's no kind of errors. And also it's good to have another eye over it if things aren't looking quite how they should look design wise as well. So I'm lucky that my partner actually does that. But I think ultimately for other people who are thinking about that, it's making those connections and those relationships with people. And obviously the printing side of it as well. Greg, who Leopard Print printed my books, and he is incredible. So we met personally. I spoke to him about what I wanted the book to look like, what size, hardback, the type of colors, the paper quality. All of these things wouldn't be possible without these other people helping me. So I'm so grateful to all of these people. And so yeah, I think ultimately it's relationships. It's building those relationships with these professional people to create art together. It's about everybody having that vision. And yeah, definitely.
I think that's it. You've got to make sure the people you're working with share your vision,
yes,
and have enthusiasm, and that you treat them well, which I'm sure
definitely.
you do.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. And so where can everybody find your books? So let's tell people where they can go and find your books.
Amazing. Okay, well, so first of all, you can get your book through me. So on my website, alastairhoswell.com. So I've got signed copies on there.
Have you got a copy with you at all?
I have. Yeah. So I've got, this is the, so
yay! There you go. I should have done that sooner.
It's like my baby. Like every time I'm like, and like if I see it in a shop, I always get like I don't know how to explain it, but I get all kind of oh my goodness, this book, like I can't believe it.
Yeah, and it's a nice big chunky book. I mean, children love big books, don't they?
Nice. And
I remember all the books that I had when I was very young, and they were big ones, or bigger than me.
I think that's exciting to have something nice to hold, and like you say, little hands with the book this size. It's
and it will last 2 or 3 children.
Definitely. Yeah, A4 landscape was definitely the way to go. I think I probably will do that again with other books, but and other places really. So I've been very lucky, really. So it's it's at Giva Mine. It's also at Cards for All Occasions in Campbell, and it's in Waterstones now, which is
is it?
It's like, oh my goodness! When that happened, I've got a funny story about that, because I actually went into Waterstones a few weeks ago, and I did a secret signing. So I went in, and my books were there, and I was in disguise. I had like a hat on and everything, and like a big coat, and it was just a bit of fun. And I thought, let's just sign them for fun. There was like 3 or 4 left on the shelf or something, and I thought, well, let's just sign them. And then I put them down, and we did a video and made it a bit of fun for social media. But it just felt so fun to do that. It was just like surreal. Yeah, surreal.
Yeah. Well, they need all the help they can get, because every shop these days needs, or every outlet needs support to make their sales and build their maintain their companies, because we need these bookshops. Okay,
Definitely.
so, and your website?
Yes, so my website is alasdairhoswell.com.
And I will put all the details, everyone, in the comments and in the descriptor of the video, which will be on YouTube on my channel soon. So please like, and if you loved hearing about Ali's journey, well, I'm hoping there'll be a part 3.
Yeah,
So we'll
I
see.
hope so. That'd be great.
Related, yeah. That's great. So thank you so much, and I'm glad you shared your book, and I'm sure that you've inspired a lot of our viewers here. And is there anything you'd like, if you've got a little like mission statement you could share with anyone?
I guess just to absolutely go for it. So if you're somebody there thinking, you know, I want to write, or I want to draw, or anything creative that you want to do, or you've got that at the back of your mind thinking, oh, I've always wanted to do this, but I don't know how, or can I believe in myself? My advice to you is to just absolutely do it. So take the plunge, take the leap. Sometimes you have to take risks, like we were saying before about I took the risk of leaving a full-time secure job to do this, and I've never been happier. So it's about, take risks, believe in yourself. Absolutely. Those voices in your head, tell them to go away, because I get those voices in my head too, and you just got to tell them to go away, and you got to do it. Do what makes you happy.
Yeah. Go for it. That's what
just go for it and do it. There's nothing to lose.
Lovely. Well, on that note, thank you very much then, Ali Hoswell, and goodbye, everybody. See you again soon.
Oh, thank you so much.
Bye.